Hey, good morning, Bella Vista. We're back again, speaking with our Honorable Mayor Flynn. How are you?
Very good. It's great to be here.
I tell you what, you guys just keep doing more and more things, and so let's update everybody on what's happening.
Yeah,
All right?
it's been pretty busy, I'll tell you.
I know.
First thing coming up is today at 1 p.m. There's a ribbon cutting at the Mercy Way Bridge. And that's really kind of an exciting event for us. You know, the bridge, the total cost is coming in around $7.6 million, and the city had to pay less than $100,000 of that. So we had a lot of grants from the federal government, which was coordinated by Northwest Arkansas Regional Planning Commission. They were a big help to us. And Walton Foundation also helped, because usually the federal grants are 80-20, where you pay 20%, and the Walton Foundation helped us with the other 20% because of the bike trail going across the bridge there. It's actually part of the Razorback Greenway, and so it's going across the bridge and getting across the creek that way, and then it's going to go all the way, go under the freeway, under 71 to Reardon, over by Reardon Road, by that Bluebird Park. And eventually the plan is to have the Greenway go to the Missouri border.
Wow.
So but that new bridge is just beautiful, you know, for vehicular traffic. It's nice, wide, 4 lanes, and it has a sidewalk for pedestrians, and then it has an isolated lane for bikes, which is isolated from the traffic. And so it's just fantastic. It's, you know, we've been working on this for years, since 2015 or so, and it's just really gratifying to see the end product.
You know, it not only, like you said, it not only benefits Bella Vista, it benefits Bentonville, it benefits the Razorback Greenway, it benefits everyone.
Yeah, so it's really a win for Northwest Arkansas, even, as well as Bella Vista.
Exactly, exactly. So. Well, speaking of Bluebird Park, something exciting is happening over there, too.
Yeah, there's a lot happening there. Just recently, they completed a treehouse that the Walton Foundation was putting in there in the park for kids, and it's sounds dangerous, but it's not that high up in the air.
No.
But there's a bunch of trees there, and it's really pretty. I went by there the other day, right when it was finished, and there's a lot of kids out there already, so that was neat to see. And of course, the Bluebird Park already has the 3 sculptures that the city had rented for a year to be there, and that's going to be an ongoing program. But we're also planning to move the Maryland sculpture over there from City Hall, and I think it'll get a lot of viewing over there. And right now, I've seen some pictures on Facebook and whatnot. They're working on a mural. There's a tunnel that goes under Reardon Road, you know, on the bike trail, and there's a fair amount of cement there at that particular location. And we have Paige Dirksen, who has done a couple of really nice murals around town. She's working on a mural there. And I kept asking them, we've waited so long, are you sure you can get this in? Will the weather be nice enough to get it in before winter? And they said, oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, we've had some pretty nice afternoons lately.
Can you believe it's November and we're getting like 70 and 80 degree weather every now and then? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's cold in the morning, but it really gets pretty nice in the afternoons. So.
Speaking of Paige, she's going to be my guest on the next show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're showcasing her work.
Yeah.
And we'll be having pictures of that Reardon, that tunnel.
Oh, well, that's neat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the Arts Council is the one that really was instrumental in getting this funding through the city for this mural.
Yeah, and the park really has been kind of a cooperative arrangement, as you know, between the city and the POA.
Yes.
So, you know, it's been great working with the POA and with Tom Judson. I think there's a lot of things we can accomplish together.
Absolutely. So, you are absolutely right. Okay, so tell me about this transportation board. What's up with that? What does that mean?
Oh, yeah, we're starting a new active transportation board, and that's a committee. It's going to be a committee of citizens, And there's going to be 7 people on it. And there's also going to be a couple of youth that are non-voting members. And Justin Culpepper, our trails manager, is kind of heading that up. But that's something that was contemplated by Regional Planning Commission, NWA Regional Planning Commission. And, you know, it was mentioned in some of the documents and whatnot. And so we have a new trails manager, Justin Culpepper, and he's got a lot of energy. And he's going to get that going. So I think that'll be fun. That way you get some, you know, it's advisory. They don't pass laws or anything, but a lot of times citizens come up with really good ideas and advice and whatnot. And it's people who are interested in walking and biking and things like that.
So do you have your board already set up, or?
No, he's in the process of getting
doing
it
that.
going right now. So if people have an interest, it'd be good. You know, go ahead and contact the city. If you, we've already had a number of people mention they had an interest in it. And,
Good.
yeah, it's funny. Anything having to do with trails always seems to have a lot of enthusiastic parties. You know, they have a group that volunteers to help keep the trails up, and Bella Vista has well over 300 volunteers that help with the trails, which is pretty neat. Have so much community participation. So.
Yeah, and Justin is a real go-getter. We've had a couple of meetings with him on the Arts Council, and he's got great ideas. He's a great addition to your team.
Yeah, yeah, we've been really happy with that. He just joined the city this year and has a good background in trails. At one time, he was with Rogue Builders, which is one of the companies that helps build trails around Northwest Arkansas for the trailblazers. And so he really has a background, a lot of understanding, and knows a lot of the people in the trail community. So
Absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
helpful.
Okay, well, lots of other things are happening. We are a tree city. We are a monarch city. What does that mean?
Yeah, we've been Monarch City, USA for the last 3 years or so. And we're continuing on with that. And the idea with that is that you make certain kind of plantings to attract pollinators, butterflies and bees and that sort of thing. And the Planning Commission, well, not so much Planning Commission, but our planning department, Community Development, has brought forward the idea of allowing pollinator gardens, you know, a certain amount of square feet in your yard, where you could plant a garden with wildflowers and different things that would attract pollinators. So it's just kind of a way of being more environmentally friendly. And I think a lot of people are really, you know, grasping onto that concept. A lot of people in Bella Vista are interested in that kind of thing. So that's, I believe it already went through the Planning Commission and is working its way through the City Council
City
now.
Council,
So
yeah.
that's why it was on my mind that I had noticed it was coming through. So
Yeah, I think there was some sort of thing. When, you know, lots of ideas on paper sound really good, and then when you start talking about them and putting in place, it's like, oh, well, we didn't think of that.
Yeah.
So I think what's happened is, instead of so many square feet, because every lot's different size,
Sure.
that they may work on, when it gets to you guys, on a percentage of your lot rather than so many square feet.
Yeah,
It's just something
yeah.
to think about, because, you know, like I have about an acre, so, you know, and my yard is 90% native and pollinator and the whole thing. But somebody else might have one of those very much smaller lots, so, you know, half of their yard, if you think
Yeah.
about square footage.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just something to think about. I am really excited about that part. As a master naturalist, we have been working really hard to get people acclimated to native plantings anyway. And what a better place to have it. Look at Bella Vista. It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
We don't
yeah.
want, well, some of us, but most of us do not want to make it more like a city, Bentonville, where you have sidewalks and traffic and all of that. We really want to take advantage of the beautiful land and all the ravines and
Yeah.
things that we have.
Yeah, that's so true.
So thank you for doing that. I'm glad. I'm hoping that everybody will take advantage of this. And I believe there's actually a list, a preliminary list being published to help folks know what plants are the best for the
Yeah.
monarchs.
Yeah.
You know, there are other things besides monarchs. There, the swallowtail. There's all these things that
Yeah.
that we could be helping with.
Yeah, they are coming out with a list of things that would be good pollinators, and also of some invasive species.
Yes.
A lot of times, there's some invasive species that are obvious, but a lot of times people aren't aware really what's invasive, what isn't. So
That's right.
It's interesting. It's helpful. It's been helpful to me to see those lists and see some of the things. It gives you some ideas what to plant and that
Yes,
sort of thing.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah, for instance, wisteria is so beautiful, but whoa, is it invasive? And
Yeah.
whoa, does it tear down the side of your building when it
Yeah.
starts, So some things are truly beautiful, but there are substitutes that you can actually plant instead of that invasive species. And I'm hoping
yeah.
that as we progress, that we share that information a little bit more too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Okay, so are we having issues with decorative stones in driveways? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, well, we hired a new city engineer, and he's been really helpful to us in a lot of different ways. He's very strong on some drainage type issues, and he noticed right away that we're allowing some decorative stone in the right of way, which technically is part of the street or adjacent to the street, and that sometimes that can cause drainage issues. So in any kind of new construction, we're not going to allow decorative stone in the right of way. And on existing construction, they're only going to crack down on it if it's causing a drainage problem.
Okay.
There's some places where people are filling in the ditch and whatnot with stone, and that can cause big problems as far as flooding and drainage and that kind of thing. It's interesting that this is something I get calls on a lot. Bella Vista, because of our topography, which is very beautiful, but it does cause some challenges. When we get a heavy rain with the water runoff, and you kind of have to have your ditches and everything set up right to handle that.
Yes.
And we hear from people a lot when things don't go well.
Okay, so what is decorative stone? I know you're going to get that question. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Do we know the answer to that yet?
Well, I think they're talking about the kind of stones that people often will have on the edge of their yard and whatnot. And usually it's not real big. It's like riprap is a big stone that's designed not to be moved by the water. But any kind of medium-sized or small stone, the water it's amazing the ability of water to move things around, and it'll take the stone and move it all over the place.
Into the drainage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so that's what they're worried about. So. Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes perfect sense. Let's talk just a little bit about this new city engineer. He's, what's his name?
His name's Chris Brackett, and he was more or less in private practice, still is, of engineering. He'd done a lot of work for the city of Farmington, and we actually hired him for 20 hours a week.
Okay.
So the people in the department are just tremendously enthused about it, his knowledge and whatnot. They've wanted this for a while, and the job market's such, it's actually quite a challenge to hire an engineer. We advertise for a full-time one and a part-time one, but it's a pretty high demand field lately. So
Yes.
we were really thrilled we were able to get somebody who had a relevant background, and he seems like a really good guy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, like I've said to you many times, I think you have a really good team, even though you've people change places and retire and do all that, but you're
Yeah.
adding some really valuable people to the thing.
Actually, this last year, since I've been mayor, we felt, for a while the job market was so tough, you literally couldn't find people. And it softened up just a little, and we've been really happy with the quality of people we've been getting, particularly in that community development area. We've
Yes.
hired several people this year who have really been helpful. You know,
I think you
good
have
experience.
you have a new planner too. I mean, new city planner
Yeah.
on board. We
Yeah.
met him the other night at the.
Yeah, you guys in the planning commission always notice that we get new people. Well, we have Chris Hyatt, who's a
Yes.
new planner, and then just this week we hired someone with relevant experience also, Addison, and he literally started in last week.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
So yeah, we feel good about some of the people we've been able to get lately.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know what? I think we'll take a quick little break, if you don't mind, and we'll be back in a few minutes because we've got some other really cool stuff to talk about.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right. Okay, we're back. Boy, we're back quickly, aren't we?
Yes.
It seems like we were just here.
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's talk about lighting. I know that's a big topic, and some people want lights, some don't.
Yeah, it's an interesting area, really. One of the councilmen brought up about having some kind of a lighting ordinance to prevent light pollution, and yet at the same time, you know, we want people to be able to have the lights they need. But it's interesting from my point of view, being mayor, I hear people complain to me about the lights and light pollution. Then I have other people say, hey, we need more lights. But the city tends to have street lights where it has come up that people feel they need it from a safety perspective, or a lot of times school bus stops, things like that.
Yes.
Because sometimes the kids will be out there in the dark in the morning, and you know, we like to have some light there where they can be more safe.
Yes.
So those are two of the things. And there's I'm not sure everyone's aware, there's a program in Bella Vista where you can have a street light at your house and pay for it yourself.
Directly yourself,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and I actually do that myself. And it's, you know, a few dollars a month, and the power company you know, puts the light up on an existing pole. In fact, I've been told, and I think this is accurate, if someone's paying for the light, it's facing their house. And if it's facing the street, then it's one that it's a city light that the city's paying for.
Interesting.
So, yeah, so.
Well, that, you know, you can't please everybody, you can't help everybody, but that sounds great. So that's coming up, a new ordinance.
Yeah, their work, one of the council persons, Craig Honchel's working on it with the community development area. And a lot of the focus is on the commercial side. You know, there's some commercial facilities, they can have very bright lights, and others that have the lights down facing, and it's not, it does the job, but not quite so invasive. So we probably do need some rules about that. He was mentioning up in Jane, there's some things that are just insanely bright, and then others that are much more subdued, so to speak.
So,
yeah.
okay. Well, and that's really something to look forward to. You know, we were talking a little bit earlier about, there's been a lot of information out there, or suggestions, whatever, about a school district here in Bella Vista. But you were just talking to me earlier about potential of a charter school.
Yeah, we have been looking into the possibility of having a charter school in Bella Vista. You know, there's a number of charter schools in Northwest Arkansas, in Bentonville, in Rogers, and Fayetteville, and Springdale, all those places. And, you know, there's a few more kids up here than people realize. I think we have more than 200 kids per class. In fact, for instance, 200 first graders, 200 second graders.
Oh.
Yeah, more than that number. And, you know, with the bypass coming on the west side, it appears to us we're going to have an increase of younger people on the west side compared to what we used to, gradually over time. It looks like it's headed that direction with the new construction and whatnot. So we have company who's interested in having a charter school up here. It's called Founders Classical Academy. And they're having a public meeting on November 28th at 5:30. It's going to be at the court over at Public Safety Building.
Oh.
And they want to hear from citizens, and so people can come and say if they're interested and whatnot. They just like to get some, I guess that's a step that's commonly taken early on in the process, to get some citizen feedback. So I'm hoping people with younger children in particular will come out to that, and we'll get some enthusiasm for that. I think it'd be nice for the kids to have a school that's a little closer. They don't have to travel so far.
So let's help even me. What is a charter school versus public school? What does that mean?
Well, that's a good question. A few years ago, Arkansas changed their law, and that's why you're seeing so many of these. And it's something really that's happening kind of all over the country. But a charter school technically is a public school.
Oh.
It's not a private school.
Oh,
it's
okay.
a public school. And that's one of the attractions to it from the parents' and students' point of view. There's not a cost to it like there would be with a private school. So what happens is you have to apply to the state and get approved, and they take a lot of different things into account. There's a whole process to it. And some of the people who have existing charter schools are a little more familiar with the process and what kind of things the state is looking for, so they have a much greater likelihood of success. I was reading in the paper just recently, a couple different charter schools had applied in the area and were turned down.
Oh.
So it's not a gimme by any means, but Walton Foundation is actually helping me with that. They're very interested in the charter school concept, and they know quite a bit about it, and they've been giving us a little bit of advice about it. So someone would decide they want to go ahead and try to have a charter school, and they would put in an application with the state, and there's a bunch of steps you have to go through. And basically, the money follows the students. So from the charter school's point of view, you're motivated to do a good job and get more students in. And, in our area, I think it's been pretty successful. When I first moved here in 1996, the school choices were the public schools and Shiloh Christian, which is, I understand,
Springdale.
a fine
Yeah,
school.
it is.
But,
They have a great football team.
coming from up north, where I was, there's quite a few private schools and different choices. And so I noticed here there weren't too many school choices. And of course, the world's completely changed now. You have more private schools. Well, our area's grown, which tends to bring more choices also. We have a number of private schools. You can go to school completely online now. There's
Yes.
a number of different schools where you can, even in grade school, you can go online. And of course, homeschooling. And the homeschooling's even changed some, because you can get online things to help you with that. Or you can go to the public school. So I think it's just great to give people choices and options. And so that's why I think it would be a good thing. I'm interested in seeing if it'd be something viable for Bella Vista.
Oh, I totally agree with you. How's that funded? Through the state?
Well, yeah, it's through the state. Like I say, the money follows the student. And
So the student applies to the state?
well, no, the
The
charter
charter
school
school.
gets the charter, and
I
then they
gotcha.
get people to attend their school. But this one is an established one, Founders Classical Academy. They have 2 or 3 in Northwest Arkansas, and they probably have around 50, I want to say, in Texas, the state of Texas. That's where they were going originally. But Walton Foundation told me there's schools, charter schools down in Florida and whatnot. They're thinking of coming to our area and aren't here yet. What I did, I just kind of contacted some of the different schools that are already here in this area, and particularly the ones that are interested in lower grades. I was, K through 12 is fine by me. But some of them were like Haas Hall is kind of a well-known one because they have good test scores and whatnot, but it's 7th grade. 7th grade through 12th. And I thought the lower grades were important. So that's why I, tried to, contact some of the ones that do the lower grades. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, all of that sounds great. Where would it be? The city doesn't have any land anywhere.
Well, that's an interesting question because you can use an existing building.
Oh.
Or you can, I always thought charter schools pretty much liked existing buildings, but some of them build some new buildings also. So I think I'll wait till November 28th to let them talk about that.
I understand. So. Well, and you might be wanting to talk to your buddy, the Coopers. Because, they own an awful lot of things here, and they're good about community things as well.
Land. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, okay, so let's remind everybody again about what's going to be on the ballot for police pensions in March.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We do have coming up on the ballot on March 5, which is when our primary is this year, a 1/2 mil levy for police pensions. What happened is back in 2014, the taxpayers in Bella Vista approved a 1 mil levy for fire and a 1/2 mil for police. We are allowed to go up to 1 mil. So what's happened over time with the police, our cost per year is about $646,000. And the amount of money we're bringing in is only $314,000. That's what 1/2 mil brings. So that's why we're putting it on the ballot to get another 1/2 mil so that we wouldn't have such a shortfall. And the money has to go entirely for police pensions. It can't go for anything else. And for the average homeowner in Bella Vista, it's less than $19 a year. So it's not, we're getting close to 15,000 homes. So it's not a real big expense for any one individual, and yet it adds up.
And very necessary.
Yeah.
Because they're behind times, and this brings things pretty much current.
So I hate to ask people for, more taxes. You hate to do that, but it's a very modest amount, and it's for a good cause. Our people are very supportive of police. And, of course, the March election, there's going to be election for U.S. Congress and the presidential primaries and that sort of thing. So I think there'll be a fair amount of interest. So
it's going to be an exciting year in so many ways.
Yeah, so true.
Define exciting any way you want to.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen.
No, they don't. They don't. Some good news. You say Chelsea Road is open finally?
Yeah, I was thinking that's something I might want to mention. Folks that live down there, I know it's been closed for a long time. What happened is they had the pipe that goes into the road was completely deteriorated. It was metal. So they had to wait till the lake was lowered in order to replace it. And I know people have been patient because the road's been closed since summer. And but boy, that culvert was just completely rusted out, the metal one. So they put a cement one in there and then paved over the road. And it literally, I think, just got opened yesterday. One of the folks in the street department sent me a picture, and it looks great.
Excellent.
But people I guess they were taking a detour off on Judy Drive, and I'm sure people on that little side street are quite happy to have that traffic no longer be there. It's been a long wait, but the POA was teed up to lower that lake this time of year, and they moved it up a couple of weeks for us because we were worried the weather would get bad before we could get it fixed.
Yeah.
And they were kind enough to move it up 2 or 3 weeks, I think. And then, of course, we were pretty fortunate with the weather, even for this time of year. We had some good afternoons to get some work done. So.
That's right.
But I guess the cement one is way superior to the old metal style because of the rusting.
Sure.
Well, it's completely underwater.
Yeah. Oh,
Because the lake's right there, Lake Windsor. So, of course, the metal one is going to rust like crazy over the years. It was practically gone.
That's right.
So.
Okay, well, I think we're almost out of time. But what I always like to do at the end of this is to thank folks and encourage folks to come to the Planning Commission meetings, to the city council meetings.
Yeah.
We had a great following there the other night for the Planning Commission on a really important issue for a zoning request. And I just want everybody to know that it is really difficult sometimes to go by the criteria that has to be met versus public input and other things. So thank you, everybody that came out. I think the courtroom was full.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
And also, if you want to know what's going on in the city, let's both encourage people to attend those city council meetings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would say the two things you can do is attend Planning Commission and City Council and watch In with Flynn. Those are the two things I would recommend.
Absolutely.
I do want to give a shout out to the TV station starting next year. I believe it'll be in January. Depending on technology, we're going to be live streaming the Planning Commission regular meeting and the City Council meeting.
Yes.
So it'll be even more convenient for people to see what's going on.
That's right. So they'll get it real time, plus we'll have it recorded so
Yeah,
they
you can
watch
watch it later if you're
anytime.
busy. Yeah, that's right.
Well, we thank you, and that's our job, is to actually make sure that everybody knows what's going on with the city and the POA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next month, okay? Keep up the good work.
We sure will.
Okay. Until next month, this is J.B. Portillo and Mayor Flynn signing off.
Thank you.